Hello and welcome to another episode of Open Studio. I'm your host Martina Flor, and in this super short episode I wanted to quickly jump in to tell you a little bit about what's coming on the next season of the podcast and make you all excited about it. I'm really excited personally to be wrapping up a third season of this podcast. I can hardly believe how far we have come with this project. We have recorded almost 100 episodes in the past 3 seasons of the podcast, and we're gonna start a new season 4 of the podcast in January. We're gonna take a little break in between, but we're gonna start somewhere in the middle of January with the 4th season, and the 4th season is gonna jumping right into it, into the content of the 4th season. It's gonna have a mix of interviews like we had on the 3rd season of the podcast, interviews with your favorite lettering artists and illustrators. I'm really excited to bring some guests that I've been chasing around for a while, and I'm really looking forward to have them on the podcast. So looking forward to that, and stay tuned because you're gonna love the guests that I have prepared for you for the 4th season of this podcast. I'm gonna also be recording some solo episodes. As you know, in combination with the interviews to your favorite lettering artists and illustrators, I have been also recording some shorter type solo episodes where I share with you tools and tactics and specific systems to up your game when it comes to your craft, and to also make a living with your skills, right? So some of them have touched onto many of them have touched onto the business side of things. And in the first solo episodes that I will be recording for the season 4 of this podcast, I will be sharing, or I will be focusing more on the craft or on the creative craft, and I will be sharing with you some tactics and techniques that have to do with mastering a skill and leveling up your game when it comes to your creative craft, right? So looking forward to record those. Yes, and this is what's coming on episode 4. I recommend you, while you wait for these new episodes, I recommend you to catch up with some of the episodes of season 3. Some of my favorite episodes, let me go through the list here. Some of my favorite episodes were episode number 81 with John Contino. He's a lettering artist. He's kind of a legend in the creative business, and it was a really nice conversation with John. He's a New York based lettering artist and designer, and he shared a lot of things. He really opened up during our conversation. There was also a conversation, let me just go through the list here, episode number 73 with Timothy Goodman. He's also an artist based in New York, and it was really inspirational. He's amazing. He's an amazing speaker, author, and he was also amazing during the podcast. So I really recommend diving into that one. If you are really deep into, improving your business and creating systems around making money with your art, I really recommend you the episode number 71 with Tandiwe Muriu. She's a photographer, an African photographer born and raised in Nairobi, and that episode was pretty amazing. I resonated a lot with a lot of the things that she shared during the episode, and I think you're gonna enjoy it as well. Episode 66 with Karan Singh, the illustrator based in Melbourne. It was also really inspirational. Karan Singh, I think many of you will resonate with this. Karan is a self defined introvert, and despite this, he is really successful in his craft and as an illustrator. And he's really laid back, and I love about the conversations that we have how, despite not being the extrovert and the outgoing type of person, he's still very confident and goes behind his opportunities, right? So I think that's a great example for those of us or those of you out there, if you are listening, that can resonate with or identify with the profile of an introvert. I think that the episode 66 with Karan Singh will resonate with you. And there's a bunch of other episodes that you can dive into during this break. There's some solo episodes also that I recommend you to dive into, where I share, for instance, one of the last ones were how to plan for a kick-ass year. I think that one could be really helpful, especially in this time of the year where we are all thinking about, okay, what's next? What do I want to accomplish next year? What are the things that I want to do? What are the things that I want to stop doing? And I think this specific episode is episode number 82. Shares actually a very simple system that I use to start thinking about what I want to accomplish during the year, which also includes thinking what are the things that I want to stop doing. And I think this is just part of it. Part of achieving your goals is also leaving things behind or stop doing things, right? So I recommend you to dive into those during this break. And I just want to tell you thank you, because you are the reason why I'm recording these episodes, and is the reason why we are with my team investing time into nurturing this project. And if you love the podcast, I really want to ask you this time around to leave us a review on any of the platforms where you listen to the podcast. If you're watching this podcast on YouTube, just subscribe to the channel and leave us a comment. We will really appreciate it. If you are listening to this on any other streaming platform or a podcast platform, leave us a review. This will help us first continue on our journey of creating these episodes, but also it will help other illustrators, creatives, artists like you. It will help them find the podcast. So if you have a minute now, go ahead, leave a review. Let us know what you think about the podcast. And also hit me up on Instagram and let me know what are the things that you would love to hear about in the next episode in the next season of the podcast. I would love to have your input. What were the episodes that resonated the most with you from season 3, and what are the things that are missing? What are the things that you would like to hear more about? And also, what are the guests that you would like to have on the podcast? Because we have already a list of guests, and we have already some guests lined up for next season, but we still have room for newcomers. So I'm really looking forward to hear what you have to say in regards to the people and your favorite illustrators and lettering artists that you would like to have in the podcast. So without further ado, I want to say thank you again and tell you that I appreciate you, that I am really looking forward to the next season of the podcast. And if you love this podcast, share with other people that might find it useful and might enjoy it as well. And have a great end of the year and a great start of 2023. Thank you and bye-bye. So this is it. I hope you loved this episode. You can find me, the host of the show, on social networks at Martina Flor on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. If you have a question or comments, go to martinaflor.com/podcast, where you can see previous episodes, find show notes, and send voice memos with your comments and questions. You can also watch these episodes on YouTube. Just go to martinaflor.com/YouTube to find them.
You can, of course, listen to all our episodes on your favorite podcast platform. If you loved this episode, subscribe to this podcast. And if you leave us a review, it will help others find us. Thank you all for listening, and see you in the next episode of Martina Flor's Open Studio. Bye-bye.